Hi, thanks for joining me on Wilderness with Amani. I just finished fishing Lake Davis for Wilderness with Amani Patreon. It's only 2 o'clock, and I figure I'd shoot over to the middle fork of the Feather River, just upstream from the town of Portola, to check out this area of the river. The water's clear enough to fish, even though it was snowing the last couple days. So I'm gonna go ahead and go down there and try to get something really quick. This isn't a true doubleheader. This is more of like extra innings, like the other day when I fished the Truckee after fishing in Tahoe. But, you know, I already got a 17-inch rainbow in the cooler from Lake Davis that looks like it came out of a perfect rainbow for eating machine. So I figure, why not come down here, take a look at a couple of these holes just on the edge of the town of Portola. I'm down by where our river walk starts. So I'm just gonna go down and fish for like an hour and see if I can't get something in the net and see if there's anything down here. So you gotta probe to know. Figured I'd squeeze in this little bit of bonus fishing today just because next week is gonna be so dicey. And this is section 5.85 water, where you gotta fish with artificial, barbless, 0 bag limit this time of year. And that's what I'm doing. And this looks really good down here. It's just, when I fished it the last time, the water was really high. And I couldn't get my jig around these sticks that were all underwater. And the water's low now, so let's see if we can't capitalize on this and get something in the net real quick. Last time I was fishing in the Middle Fork for Patreon like a couple months ago or a month ago, I got a big brown, man. It's in my trout fishing highlight clip video from it's in either I think it's in the last one I put up or the one before it. You can see that big brown I caught in that trout fishing highlight clip. Not a lot of people watch my trout fishing highlight clips. I have a whole highlight clip playlist, and you can literally see the history of my channel on there. And each one of those clips is like, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks of fishing usually. So with my polarized glasses, I'm always, especially when I'm looking at a new stretch of river. Ooh, there we go. There we go. I'm always looking to see what's going on. And this is a big wild rainbow. Got him. He came swimming right up. Get this trout in here. I'm gonna let him really make sure he's good to go. I wish they would make this river barbless catch and release because there's such nice trout in it. And killing fish like this, to me, the fish I have in my cooler is a really nice looking natural rainbow, but it's in a bigger fishery. Ooh, look at him go, look at him go. This is a nice like 16, 17-inch wild rainbow. Whew, there he goes. Oh, there he goes. Whew. Man, that water is cold. And right when I said I always look to see if a fish is following it, I saw that guy come up out of the depths and just nail my jig, man. Where I got that fish, that rock's out in the river, I dropped my jig right in the end, just like I did there, literally 6 inches from it, and I was swimming it away, and I saw that fish chasing it out from that where the current is. He chased it into the slow water, and whenever you see a fish chasing your jig, you've got to make a decision. You're like, do I want to slow it down? Do I want to speed it up? Because if you make the wrong choice, the fish isn't going to hit. So you got that one chance to make that adjustment. This looks like really good spinner water. Because it's got that brown coloring to it. It's like tea stained, and it's always kind of like that. There's a fish rising right there, and I swam my jig through there, and it didn't even look at it. It was just like, a lot of times that's what you get when you're fishing with jigs. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna try to drift a bobber and a fly through there, and then I'm gonna try to go with a straight woolly bugger off of my spinning rod. I put this pheasant tail bead head on, which resembles nothing like that fish is actually feeding on. And I'm gonna go with the longer leader. Oops. I'm gonna go with the longer leader first, and then I'm gonna shorten it up because he is feeding on the surface. But this is a really good way to add like just a little something more dynamic to your presentation, because they're not always gonna want my jigs. And I don't always wanna haul around my fly rod too. So this gives me a fly fishing dynamic, even though it's 6-pound test. Oh yeah, he's hanging out right around out here. He's just cruising around and he's rising. So we'll see if he takes this. If I see that line go, if I see that bobber even hesitate, I gotta set. So what I've seen is nothing. Absolutely nothing. So let me redo this. Just missed him. I got a piece of him though, so I don't think he's gonna hit again. He hit it though. He hit it when it drifted through that time. All right, I drifted that fly like 15 times and he ain't gonna bite it. He bit it that one time and he knows now. I gotta go back up to where the water's rushing and I'll see what that looks like. One thing is for sure, the fish in this slower area down here where the water's calming down, I see risers on the other side. I'm firing my jig at them. They're not even remotely interested in this jig. They're like, dude, you got first fish I got upstream. Stop jumping, dude. So he came off. That was a brown. He just would not stop jumping. It wasn't very big. And when you're fishing barbless jigs, one jump is too much. That fish was jumping all over the place. So I'm not getting a lot of interest in my jigs up in this water. This is like dry fly country, man. I see fish rising, but I'm not getting many jigs. But what I'm doing is I'm just inching it along the bottom. There's some bedrock down there. And I'm inching along that bedrock, and that's where I picked up that brown. But man, I am not getting a lot of action on this jig. Another one. These smaller fish tend to fall off a lot, especially when I can't get my net out from behind my pack. Oh, he came off. That was a brown, small brown. My net was all wrapped up in my pack. I couldn't get it out. See, those small fish, they don't keep enough pressure on this jig. And I'm casting to the far bank, and I'd see I'm dropping it inches from that far bank. And then I'm just scooting it across because it's not very deep here. And there's some browns, and where there's small browns, there could be big browns. He was following it. I was doing my shore cast. Ooh, come on. There's browns in this section. He came off the hook and fell in the net. He came off the hook and fell in the net. That's called a save. Let me get my hands wet for this guy. Let's make sure he's got a lot of pump in him. I cooked him right below me. And I'll show you what I did, and it's something you should always do. Hands are nice and wet. Nice fat brown. There seems to be a lot of browns in this section. Down below where I was fishing, it looked like a lot of rainbows, and they're all rising, and they just didn't want anything to do with my jig. So this is kind of low probability water, but it has like these grass things that stick out, as you can see. And before I walk up and spook it, I always cast one upstream and I just jig it down along the bottom. And then when my jig got right below me, I saw that fish swimming in circles around it, and I was able to set the hook on him. If you never fished with jigs, 1/8 ounce jigs like I'm fishing with here, these marabou jigs, one thing you have to understand, a lot of fish are gonna turn it down. And you catch some nice fish with it, but a lot of times it's more of you just gotta find that one reckless fish. If the fish I'm looking for was a human, I'm looking for the dude that eats a dozen donuts, chases it with a bottle of Jack Daniels, smokes a pack of cigarettes, and then jumps in his car and drives 100 miles an hour. I need the reckless fish. You don't want the conservative fish that goes to the library and reads quietly and is cautious about everything and never takes chances. You want the daredevil. That's what you're looking for when you're jig fishing, because a lot of fish are going to look at this thing and they're just going to say, no way. A lot of fish will follow it almost like they can't believe you're trying to catch them with it. And they got to get a closer look. But you can tell when they're just not going to bite it. And once they do that, don't even waste your time casting again. Even though I do a minimum of 15 casts after I see a fish, even though I know they'll never hit it. You can see the river blows through these trees. And that's how high it was the one time I came down here. I didn't even really fish because I couldn't get around all the sticks in the water. All right, I got some rushing water up here. That's got to be it. This quick little look has turned into an hour and a half. And I'm already really hungry for dinner. That's gonna wrap it up. I was just gonna run down here for a half hour, an hour. I spent about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And I'm starving now. I ate my bologna and cheese sandwich when I was fishing at Lake Davis hours ago, and now I need dinner. So that was pretty good, you know. It wasn't great. There seemed to be a lot of rainbows down, rising in that slower stuff. They wouldn't even look at my jig. They wouldn't even follow it. They wouldn't even flash at it. I had to come up here where the water was moving a little more and there were some boulders, and I ran into a couple browns. But, you know, if you're going to try jigs, I always recommend getting rid of the barbs. I recommend if you're fishing, if you're new to fishing and you're a kid or you're just an adult that's new to fishing and you think you want to let some fish go, get a file off the barbs. I'm getting ready to reshoot that clip, so it's a little more involved. I've been doing it longer. I've gotten better at it. So I want to reshoot making my barbless hooks with the needle file clip, and so that way I can show people who are interested in fishing barbless, they can do it easily. For me, if I'm fishing in a river, no matter what the regulations are, my personal regulations are barbless catch and release. But this is cool. I didn't get to fish up here last time because the river was up in the bushes, and it's probably going to be that way again once the snow really starts melting. But that was a fun little check and scout. You got to scout, and there's miles of river that go up and just keep going, and I don't have the time or energy to do it right now. So it's going to have to wait until next time. Thank you for joining me on this quick scout of this little section of the Middle Fork of the Feather River. Until next time.